What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of SpeedSim. My name's Andre.
And I'm Hiwez.
And today, as you guys all know, this long time coming, we're going to be talking about SpeedSoft versus MilSim.
To start, I have a request. If you're gonna comment on this video, please keep it civil, please keep it polite. I'm well aware there are many hard feelings on this subject. Andre and I don't share any said hard feelings, but we know other people have them. I know I'm asking monkeys not to fling shit, and you're not going to listen to what I'm saying, but please remember that there are people on the other side of the internet, and don't be a dick. But yes, we are going to be talking about, it's kind of a celebration of we're coming up on 3,000 subscribers.
Ooh, thanks to all of you.
Yes, thank you to everybody who watches our videos. We're going to be talking about SpeedSoft versus MilSim. Yep. What they do differently, what they do better in some cases, and stuff like that.
And what we, like of each different faction of this side.
Exactly.
So to start off with, MilSim.
MilSim. Well, let's define our terms, first of all.
Okay.
Because I think some people get confused about what things are.
Terms.
Some people have their own idea of what these things are. So what are we talking about? When I say MilSim, I think of people using realistic gear, using realistic tactics borrowed from the military and real world, in some cases even competitive shooting, defensive shooting, tactical shooting, and bringing those tactics over into games that are often scenario-based and structured at the squad and platoon level. That's what I think of when I think MilSim. So think American MilSim, MilSim West, those types of things where you have squad platoon level organization and kind of a focus on bringing some realism to the game. Now, it is a game, so as much as some people might think so, no, it's nothing like real war and you're never going to capture that kind of experience, but it does bring some of that element of realism to it.
Yes. I agree with that definition. It's totally what I see MilSim as. More structured organization, like real military, like Eric said. It's
LARP.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's LARP. You're role playing as, if you're a grunt or a squad leader or an LMG, it's LARPing.
Yep. You're using military type gear in a military type setting.
Yes.
You're not in the military.
No, you are not.
You are far from it.
Yes, you are far from the unless you actually were or are in the military. That's a different story.
Totally different.
On the airsoft field, it doesn't really.
Now, SpeedSoft. What was your definition of SpeedSoft?
I would say, God, you're asking me for my definition. It's like I'm an English major or something. My definition of SpeedSoft would be where you are trying to utilize, SpeedSoft kind of comes from speedball. So you're kind of utilizing some more of the fast-paced tactics of and the thing that people don't give SpeedSoft enough credit for is it is a kind of a squad-level organization.
Yeah.
You do ideally use some of the tactics of fast-paced squad-level organization from speedball where you are doing bunkering and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But the whole point of SpeedSoft is its efficiency, violence of action, and chasing the win with as much speed as possible.
Yeah. Exactly the definition of it. Couldn't say it better myself. When you are SpeedSofting, obviously some people tend to go on more of a lone wolf type of deal, which is fine. Do what you gotta do. But if you can, try to use your teammates because it's really advantageous when you do it. So
in my opinion, it's more efficient and speedy to win with your team.
It really is. Just go on by yourself. Not like some people, like I cannot stand it when people don't go for objectives and they're like, "Hey, you want to go kill people?" I'm like, no, not necessarily just for that purpose, but whatever. You go do it.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about. Obviously, the whole thing of SpeedSim, our dynamic has always been, I lean very toward the MilSim side of a lot of things, and Andre leans very toward the SpeedSoft side of a lot of things. I actually do personally like both play styles in different situations, but what I like about MilSim personally is, again, it is LARPing to an extent.
Yep.
And I do like getting into the role. I like getting into the scenario. I do like role-playing heavy games. I mean, we run role-playing heavy games sometimes either here at River City or at Hunters Creek.
Right.
And I like getting into the role. I like doing that kind of squad level organization and working with my team, you know, kind of getting round table and talking about what we're going to do and then executing that plan over a series of hours. And I find that rewarding and a lot of fun. I'm a gear nut. I like using and buying and collecting gear, and you get a sense of putting it through its paces when you're really using it heavy, and I think that's cool, so I like that. I don't do impressions just because I find those very impractical for my uses, especially because finding tall size is a pain in the ass. But I do like using real gear. I like using realistic guns because I'm also a firearms enthusiast outside of airsoft. I don't upload as many videos about it because I live in New York, but I do like firearms and firearms history, and getting to play with facsimiles of real firearms is really cool. And I like using the handling techniques and the tactics and just bringing some of that realism into my game. I think that's a lot of fun. I think it's very rewarding, and it's kind of a constant force feedback when you're playing that style and you kind of get to see, hey, you know, what would work for me in this situation? I'll never be in this situation because I'm a civilian, but what would work? What can I try? And what kind of transfers over to when I'm doing my real shooting, or more realistically, what transfers from my real shooting over to airsoft? And that's a lot of fun to me. That's what I like about MilSim.
Now, moving along, like Eric said, he leans more to the MilSim side, so my likes are going to be really different. But starting right out, I like the gear. I have a lot of gear, and I do like the gear aspect. Not so much where it's like plate carrier heavy or helmet heavy, because I'm not into that kind of stuff, but like some of the other gear, like I have a mini chest rig that I really enjoy, and I have an LBX tactical BDU top, and I enjoy that. So some of the stuff is actually really good for how I play. Alongside as well, outside of airsoft, I do real shooting here and there. I use Eric's guns or Kyle's or whatever. You know, I use their guns, and a lot of that transfers back over to my airsoft play and vice versa. So
he's also a super good shot.
I mean, if you use pistols a lot, you can kind of get a sense of muscle memory how things are supposed to work, but that's probably for a later video. Organization, to a point. I like sitting with the squad that I'm with and coming up with a plan and then executing that plan. I don't get that so much in SpeedSoft, but when it comes down to the MilSim side of it, coordinating with your squad is super helpful. And that's probably the biggest extent that I like MilSim to, is just those 3 points. Not, like I said, Eric leans more heavy to the MilSim side, but there are just a couple things that I do enjoy. All right, now moving over to our dislikes. First dislike, like I was mentioning earlier, the structure. I did go to a MilSim op.
Gladio. You went to Gladio,
right.
Yes.
It's a little too much. There are certain things where like you can't do something, but like it would really help if I were to do it. You can't do it, so I can't sit there and have someone tell me what I can and can't do. That's just not the way I roll. But you know, for the MilSim side, that's totally cool. You know, if that's what you like, that's fantastic. But for me, I just cannot stand it. Gear color. When you go to a MilSim op and you have to have the certain gear, like if you're just a smidge off, like with your hat, you can't play. Like, okay, it's just a hat. It's gone too far. But again, I understand. You know, teams has to be color coordinated so everybody understands whose team was whose. You can't have like a multicam helmet and then you have wrestler OD green. You're gonna get confused. I totally understand that, but like, oh, it's too much.
You like using your special snowflake stuff. You don't like being told what you can't use.
Like I said with the whole MilSim thing, I don't like being told what I can and can't do. Mm-hmm. So it's really frustrating. And then it's just more like less on the player, like the play side of playing the game, but more like some of the people out there on the field when you're playing MilSim are too heavy into thinking that they're real military, and you get this whole sense of like you get put out of place in what you're actually doing. So like for people, for instance, who think they're in the military and this is a real military situation, they're gonna die, it's too far.
Well, they don't,
a little too far.
Yeah, the problem is they don't play aggressively.
Yeah, they don't. They just sit back and they just take pop shots, and then they roll back some more because they're getting shot back. It's like you gotta go push forward. Like even though you're getting shot at, they probably don't really see you. They're just trying to suppress you. So whatever. But that's just my extent of my dislikes. But what are yours?
I would say my biggest dislike with MilSim is just the fact that so much of it depends on who you're with. That's the biggest thing, because if you end up going to a game and you don't have a full squad, and sometimes you'll get paired with some people. I mean, I had this experience at a Lion Claws game that we went to where we got paired with half of our squad, or half of our buddy squad actually, was people who had zero interest in playing the objective. People who had zero interest in rolling with the squad, and they ended up having half a squad because the other half just went and did their own thing.
That's
so
frustrating.
part of it is it is very much dependent. And like Andre said, another big frustration of mine with a lot of people who call themselves MilSim players is that they're not aggressive. They get so into that, I don't want to get shot, I got to play it like it's realistic mentality. They forget it's a game almost. And then they're like, I don't want to push up too much. I don't want to get careless. And then they come to an open play and they barely leave the spawn.
Yeah.
So it's
a little...
Because again, you got to remember, it is a game and you got to play aggressively. Shout out to Robo Murray, actually. When I was at Fata Giant, I remember he and I were the two guys out front for some of the stuff because some of the other guys were so sitting back, they didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And it
does get frustrating.
Yeah. But that's the frustration, is sometimes people don't play aggressively enough, because in the real military, the fact is that yes, you are going to be super conservative, but in the real military, you're probably just going to call in air support and let them deal with the problem.
Or tank.
This is a game that's meant to bring some aspects of realism, but you sacrifice, and some people do forget that. And then I also don't like, and this is kind of a personal thing, there are some teams that get, I think, way too into the having a leadership chain structure where teams will have ranks and they'll have people who have to be called sir and stuff, and I'm into the LARPing to an extent, but then it gets a little too far. Now if you're into that, honestly, if you're really into having a team structured like that, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments, because I'm sure there's a legitimate reason for it. Just to me, it's not what I like. I like having my buddies. We're all pretty casual. We're all pretty freewheeling. I mean, I feel like 4 or 5 of our team members are all veterans, so they were all in the military. They're all sick of calling everybody sir, so we just get drunk the night before they go play airsoft. So that's what we do. So it's all about balancing.
So moving right along, going over back to SpeedSoft, what we like. Now to start off, I love, like I said, from the dislikes of MilSim, I love being able to wear what I want, because I can't stress that enough how much I hate being told what I can and can't wear. I like wearing my LBX top with my black and gray bottoms, and it works fine. But then other times I feel like wearing shorts and a black t-shirt. I always like to mix it up depending on how hot the days are or who I'm playing with. When I play with Eric and the rest of the gun gamers, it's usually LBX top, and I like to look somewhat operator so I can fit it in a little bit. But then other times when they're not there, just throw on some shorts and battle belt and have at it. Second thing, action. When I went to Gladio, 0 action. I shot maybe 1 person, and that got really old and stale. And
we were on security detail, which is great if you're into LARPing, not so much if you're into action.
Yeah, it was no action, and I was really frustrated. So that's, is a lot of open place, here in River City or, Buffalo Battlegrounds. There's a lot of action, everything going on. Love it. You always get trigger time. You always shoot somebody at least. You maybe at least get 10 kills if you, keeping track of that. But like I said, when I went to MilSim, I got maybe 1 shot and I killed 1 person. So that, again, thing I love about it is just there's a lot of heavy action and there's objectives. So you actually have something to do aside from always playing team deathmatch, which does get boring, like we've mentioned. Second thing, I love seeing different SpeedSofters' gear. I like seeing their guns. I like seeing their personalities. I like to see the way they play and how they handle themselves. Fantastic. I think that'll about do it. There's not too much that I got to go into because, like I said, I lean more into the SpeedSoft side, so I'll probably play that more often than not. Also, a big shout out to SYG with their, SYG/SpeedQB. Their stuff is great. The BattleBot works fantastic, so I can't wait to try that some more.
Okay, so let's talk about what I like about SpeedSoft, because the joke has become with this series that Andre and I are rubbing off on each other, and I'm getting him more into different gear, and he's getting me more into wearing the dye mask and running my high kappa.
It's comfy that way.
It is. It really is. But what I like about SpeedSoft is when I go to an open play, I'm pretty much a SpeedSofter wearing expensive gear. That's pretty much what I do because that's what wins the game a lot of times. A lot of people they shut down when faced with aggression.
Yes,
and it's great because I mix that sense of aggressive play with my well-practiced weapons handling, and it's just an awesome combination. That's super fun.
Watching him go switch from a rifle to a pistol is the most satisfying thing to watch. Like, you just have a gif of Eric just drip. It's the most satisfying thing in the world. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's awesome.
Yeah, I have, that's the thing, as I do practice all that kind of stuff, and then doing it super quickly, I almost view SpeedSoft as kind of like a 3-gun environment, where you're just trying to do everything super quickly with a focus on making those hits as quick and accurate as possible, and I love that. Then the other thing I like about SpeedSoft is, you know what, and I'm going to get back into the latest video here, it's cardio.
Yeah.
When I go and I play a day at River City, and I play for, maybe we do 5 or 6 hours total of gameplay. Mm-hmm. When I'm running out, that's cardio. I'm getting moving, and I can move pretty well too, which is always fun. And so that's what I like too. Is it's that cardio, and then it helps me even. And there's another thing I like about SpeedSoft. I made a video about this. Then when I carry that SpeedSoft skill set over to my MilSim games, because now I'm aggressive, well practiced with doing things quickly, and I'm in good shape. Mm-hmm. Now when I go to, say, Faded Giant, when we have to clear rooms, I'm fast as hell, and I can get right in there and do it. And also, I don't really care if I get shot. I've got medic bands, whatever. It just kind of removes that fear. You get into it, and you get more into, I want to do what completes the objective rather than I want to do what avoids me getting shot. Which is a good attitude to have in a lot of cases. You obviously have to balance it with not being stupid, but that's the trick.
Again,
the more you practice it. It is a game.
You can be kind of stupid in a game.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, if it doesn't work out, you can always flip around, rewind that button, and try it again later.
Yep. And that's what I really like about SpeedSoft is the aggressive, quick style of play. And when I play with my buddies, a lot of my buddies have started adopting that more and more too, which is great. Especially, I just always remember the time that it was you, me, Corey, and Ian on a team.
It was it was a great team, but not for the opposite team.
It was so fun. And we did so well because the 4 of us were all the same page. Like, we're going to play super aggressively, but we're also going to coordinate.
Yep.
And that just made it awesome. That was so fun. So that's what I love about SpeedSoft. It's just... It's kind of
a good team.
If you have a good team, it's just so much fun.
So well.
You can do so much cool stuff.
Yeah. Now moving along to the dislikes. So, my dislikes. Some of the players out there have an interesting outlook on how to play it. Mag dumping and full auto people. It kind of ruins the whole. Not ruined, but it gives SpeedSoft a bad stigma. Because if you think mag dumping is going to help, whatever vendetta or saltiness you have against another player is really not doing yourself justice for later on down the road when all of a sudden your field bans you. So the whole, as you guys know from other fields have started banning this playstyle because of that reason. So I guess less about the gameplay, but more certain players out there, that kind of ruins it for me. Again, back to the players thing, objectives. If there's a capture the flag objective, you should be going for the flag and not trying to flank around, get as many sweeps as you can, and then you get killed before you get even close to the flag. You got to coordinate yourself. Sweeps are great for that purpose, especially capture the flag, because it's the central point you have to get to. And if you can clear out the team for the rest of your team, that's fantastic. But if you're just going there for kills, it's really not helping your team too much. You're getting kills and you're just taking people off the field, but it depends on how quickly you're taking people out. They can come right back to their same spot, and you've just pretty much done nothing. So I guess my biggest dislike is not going for the objectives. I have numerous of people when I'm on the field asking me, "Hey, do you want to go on a sweep and get mad kills?" I'm like, "No, there's an objective. I want to go for the objective." So that's probably my biggest dislikes is more the players and not the game. Another huge thing, I like the whole competition less of the open play, but more on the SpeedQB side, like the SpeedQB Sundays and the tournaments and stuff. I like how that's being kind of introduced more, so that way people have a sense of competition, so they can work their way up to. So if you live like let's say here, and you want to eventually try out and go to California and give your best shot to have a chance at the title, I think that's a great stride, and you can, it's more action and more competition.
And I would say, I think that's very fair. I think, now to be fair, SpeedSoft, I think, is kind of newer to be quantified than MilSim.
Oh, yeah. Because that's how the whole other thing started.
So it's evolving. I would say, SpeedSoft is still evolving, and I think there are some growing pains, as Andre said, within the SpeedSoft world and community. There are, but again, there's bad apples on both sides. There's plenty of MilSim guys who are douchebags too, so don't get me wrong, I'm not picking on SpeedSoft in particular. I'm just agreeing that there are some guys who make it look bad, and because it's newer, those guys make it look all the worse, because for some people, that's their first exposure. I was lucky. My first exposure to SpeedSoft was Andre. So I had that as my first exposure, but some people are getting the guys with 60 RPS Polar Stars mag dumping everybody at 5 feet, and that's uncalled for.
I hate it, and I'm sure everybody else hates it, from what I can tell.
But again, that's not on the play style. That's really on some of the individuals in it, which is unfortunate. Hopefully, the SpeedSoft community will continue to police itself and start calling those individuals out.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well, but there's still a couple bad seats out.
Oh yeah, there's work to be done, but there's like I said, there's work to be done in the MilSim community. Still a lot of people there who need to not be there. But so that's the thing. As for the playstyle of SpeedSoft itself, one of the things I would say I dislike, but again, this kind of depends on who you're with. But actually, this was fair, because I would say, again, it depends on who you're with, because so much of your success, if your team is going to go for an aggressive SpeedSoft style of play, is going to depend on who you're with, because you need a team that you can coordinate effectively with and who can all carry out that skill set in a quick and efficient manner. Yeah. So it does very much depend on who you're with. As for anything else I dislike, games are kind of short, which sometimes it'll feel like you're just getting into the spirit of things and then the game will end. That's a pacing thing, which really depends on what kind of game you're looking for, but that's a personal note for me. Although my problem is most of the time when the games end, it's because I ran right for the objective and got it like super quick. So I guess that's on me. But that is a thing to mention, is sometimes the games go super quick, and I know some people get frustrated by that. Other than that, I would say it is kind of still in growing pains, which is probably the biggest negative to SpeedSoft right now, but it's learning, it's evolving, and the market is going new and interesting places. Again, as Andre said, shout out to SYG, and there's a lot of teams in Southern California doing a really good job of pushing SpeedSoft to that next level, which I think is kind of the future of getting into more competitive tournaments, getting into more SpeedSoft specialized gear, and doing all that kind of stuff, because that's where you're going to start seeing more and more innovation happen, and that's where you're going to see the play style evolve.
So, in conclusion, if you haven't tried out both styles of play, totally suggest going out to your first MilSim event. If you're a SpeedSofter, or if you're a MilSimmer, try going to more open plays, grab yourself a guy or whatever, play with your gear you got, and just, be a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very thankful if you are more pushing out of the spawn, because I know I get frustrated. Eric definitely gets frustrated. So just push. Any closing thoughts?
I suppose my point of this, and kind of the whole point of the series, has been there's a lot of unnecessary hard feelings. There's a lot of people who have very hard line stances on this of, MilSim is, weak and stupid and for posers, and SpeedSoft is for kids and wannabe paintballers. And I'm just like, have you ever just tried having fun?
Yeah.
So that's my point, is go out, try some different things. Airsoft is a gaming system, and within it there are genres. And two of those genres are MilSim, one of them is SpeedSoft, and I'm sure we're going to see more evolve as the game continues to grow. I mean, like I said, we've been running more LARP-heavy games, which are also super fun. Not MilSim, not SpeedSoft, but borderline Dungeons and Dragons with guns, which is totally awesome. Maybe we'll do an episode on that at some point. But that's kind of the point here.
All right, guys. thanks for watching. We appreciate every one of you because we're rolling up on that 3,000. So if you guys have any comments, like we said, keep it civil down there. Comment down below. Tell us either or your experiences. Give us a like rating down below, and don't forget to subscribe. My name again was Andre.
And I'm Hiwez.
We'll catch you later.
Peace. Also, you can buy these sweet shirts at the link in the description.